Welcome to That Eight, a queer food podcast. I'm your host, Justin Burke. Grief sucks, plain and simple. There's no clear process, no timeline, no way to move through it as quickly as you fall into it. But thankfully, we're talking about it more, sharing what it actually looks like, different perspectives, different paths, a way of saying if any of this feels familiar, you're not alone. People process differently. Some turn to projects, some reminisce, some get into the kitchen, cooking the recipes of the people they've lost, holding on to them in a different way. And that's what comedian, writer, and author of My Greek Mom's Recipes, She Died, I Wrote This Book, Gus Constantellis did. What started as a project with his mom became a way to honor her, a cookbook that reads like a memoir, one that moves between humor and grief, recipes and memory, and capture what it means to lose someone and still feel them in the food you make. In this episode, we talk about Gus's path from stand-up to writing, how his mom became such a beloved figure, and what it looked like to write this book in real time, just days after her passing. We also get into queerness, how it shapes grief, family, identity, and the moments we step into representation without even planning to. This conversation is about food, but it's also about love, loss, and the ways we keep people close. I'm really glad you're here. Gus, thank you so much for hanging out with us today on That Eight. I'm really excited for your book that just came out, My Greek Mom's Recipes. She Died, I Wrote the Book. I love the title. It's just so honest, honestly. And that is where, it is. It's super honest. And I'm seeing a lot of cookbooks just having more honest titles and it's more conversational. And I love that. But I want to hear it from you, what the book is about, what it means to you.
So it's funny because, the original title was My Dead Mom's Recipes. And so we were going way darker originally. And I think because of the demographic being obviously moms, 30 to 50, we were like, no, let's pull back a little bit. And I think it was
Yeah,
really smart. But I still wanted a little bit of that edge and kind of honesty in the title in some way. It's out and it's weird. I don't know. It's right here. Sorry. I just have it right here. I was just looking at it and it's just
it's
we
beautiful.
debated it. It is beautiful. It is really beautiful. It turned out so great. And She Died, I Wrote This Cookbook. And I think just keeping that honesty was really important to me because this book is really kind of a memoir of her life and kind of a cookbook. I
Hmm.
know that in publishing, you're not supposed to use those words together because it's a business thing. But I think
Yeah.
in this case, I can really talk about what it really is, which is really inspired by Crying in H Mart, the Michelle Zauner memoir. And it's really inspired by Stanley Tucci's Taste book. It's stories and it's recipes. And so overall, it is a memoir of my mother's life. And it's a memoir of my experience in the first 2 years dealing with her death. So it is a really immediate response to grief in a lot of ways. A lot
Hmm.
of these stories are, in my opinion. And so that's kind of what's so interesting about it is some of them are just so dark because I was really going through it in the moment. I started writing it 4 days after my mom died. And so there is a real immediacy, I think, the
Hmm.
emotions that I'm feeling in it, if that makes
I
sense.
no, it makes 100% sense. I love the darkness of it. I would rather have the true form of why this book is being created, where it's coming from that point of view, because it just adds richness to the recipes and the stories. And I read it, and yes, there are things that are things I've never experienced. I have not gone through the loss of a parent, but I have gone through loss of family members who were very integral in my life. So I understood these point of views of grief, but also I think in a more global aspect, grief as someone who's queer too.
Mm.
It just resonated so well, and I love a cookbook that is slash memoir. I wanna know the stories. I wanna know why this food is being cooked. I kinda wanna know the shitty behind the scene things about it because it
Yeah.
it adds more value to it. So, I think you did a tremendous job. The book
Thank
is,
you.
like I said, 100% beautiful. The photography, who did the photography?
We did it with Feast Studio, and they're upstate New York in Hudson Valley, and they were
Yeah.
so fun to work with. I was there for the shoot, and we vibed out. They were like they
Yeah.
they do a lot of DJing on the side, and her husband DJs, so there was a lot of
Mhm.
music in the room. There was a lot of
I
fun
love that.
music. They have like a camp that like they upstate New York, and then they took us to their camp, and we ate the food that we made throughout the day at like the wrap thing. So it was with her mom and her kids, and so it was just a really weird cosmic like experience. As we were sitting on the lake eating my mom's food after shooting for like 4 days straight, a blue herring flew past us. And I don't know if you know, blue herrings are very meaningful in terms of
Yeah.
luck and like fortune. And so the blue herring just like flew by us, and we were just like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. And so like we really vibed out. And then over New Year's, we got to like party and ring in the New Year together. So like we become friends. It's so fun.
That's awesome. I also love the, personal photography, like the pictures of your
Oh
mother
yeah.
and the family photos, that blend of studio photography and then at home amateur photography, it beautiful, like
Yeah.
so
Thank
good.
you.
So let's get into a little bit about your backstory of what created the reason and the opportunity for this cookbook. So you went viral for impersonating your mother, your Greek mother. Like you did the accent, you do the accent, the wigs, I mean, everything. It happened during the pandemic, right? Is that when it
It was
started?
during the pandemic, but I was already doing stand-up for quite a while before that, and
Hmm.
so I always talked about her and my family in my stand-up. So it wasn't like a weird step, it was kind of a natural next step of like,
Hmm.
"Oh, yeah, I already have so much material about her and my dad that it makes sense to just, like, throw on a wig and make fun of her." I started doing it like, it's funny because I did it, like, a couple times and it didn't go well because I wasn't, like,
Hmm.
viral at that point. I was just trying to build a following, and then I did, like, an Easter video, like, right before Greek Easter during the pandemic when everyone was still, like, kind of inside, and I did that video, and it went really viral, and that was truly the point where I was like, "I'm done with this. I don't wanna do this Greek mom thing anymore."
Really?
Like, I've already done it, like, 4 times to no success, no one likes this, and then I posted that video, and I had, like, 10,000 followers in, like, a day on
Wow.
all of the platforms, just, like, popped off. And so I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm the Greek mom now."
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're doing this.
we're doing it now.
That's amazing. Did your mom know that you were doing
She
that?
she didn't know at first, and then my brother told her, and then I went to, like, family dinner one day, and she was pissed. She was not happy. She was not happy at all. Because my brother also is not like, a creative. And so he really
Mhm.
pitched it as like, he's making fun of you. He's embarrassing the family. You don't know what he's talking about. He's saying this, he's saying that. And so she thought it was just me roasting
Yeah.
her and being mean. And then all her church friends started following me and they were like, no, we love it. And then she was like, oh, I get what he's doing.
Yeah.
This is fun. Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
She still really hated the cross-dressing aspect of it, but I think
yeah.
that she was still able to be like, "No, this is funny, I get it."
Yeah, she could find the appreciation for it. Whose idea was it for her to like you eventually brought her on? You eventually were like, "Here is the Greek mom." Like
Yeah.
was she was she wanting to like
No,
come
she never
on and
wanted to at all. That was the part I think that made it so fun because my when she did not really wanna do it. My dad really wants to be a part of the videos, and for
Mhm.
that reason, it's not fun. It's like, no, you want it too badly.
Yeah.
It's way more organic and just silly if it's just like her being like, "Rah, why is there a camera in front of me?" Um But yeah, so she did not want it, and then I would film her. She really was a one take wonder, I gotta tell you. There was no second take with her. If she said something funny, if you didn't get it on camera, she was never gonna do it the same way ever again. Just deal with it. So it wasn't it really all those videos are so super organic. And it was a matter of like me going in and just like editing all the little fun moments out because she was just a wild card. You didn't know what she was gonna say, and then you
That's
would stop
amazing.
recording, and she would say something, like, so devastatingly funny, and you'd be like, "Why?
Damn. Damn.
Why? Come on, man. Even dogs know when there's a camera on them. You don't know when the camera is
Yeah.
recording? Let's go."
We're always
Yeah,
performing.
yeah.
Um That's amazing. Did she ever realize how beloved she was? I mean,
Oh, no, she did.
she did?
She
Okay,
definitely did,
good.
because she was getting stopped everywhere, especially in Brooklyn. There's so many Greeks, and especially in Astoria, there's so many Greeks.
Yeah.
And so she was getting stopped everywhere. We were getting like free dinners at Greek restaurants. She was loving that. She was like,
Oh,
"Oh, okay, yeah, like a
she
free
was
glass of
soaking it up.
wine." She was soaking it up. She didn't care at one point, especially the last summer before she passed, like the the chaos in Crete when we were there together, it
Mhm.
was so funny. Like we went to this one little gift shop, we're shopping around. The two women that owned it were like, "Oh my god, it's the Greek mom." They took a picture with her. They took a picture with her and they hung it up next to Robert De Niro.
That's
Literally, like,
amazing.
the fact that in their minds, my mom is as famous as Robert De Niro is so funny. Like, we would walk down the streets of Crete and people were just like turning heads at her. Like, anytime
Yeah.
she would stop and smoke a cigarette, people were like crowding her. It was so funny. So she really loved it and she appreciated it because she was like, oh, now I have someone to talk to everywhere I go. Because you have
Yeah.
to understand, my mom didn't speak English. The whole
Yeah, I
40
yeah, you say that in the book.
years that she was in America, my mom didn't speak any English. So New York is easy if you don't speak English. There's
Mhm.
a lot of Greeks here. You can find a community. You're good. But anytime she would go to like LA, I lived in LA for a little while. LA, ooh, the racism that she
Oh.
experienced as someone that didn't speak
Mhm.
English was so crazy. So this kind of weirdly gave her a voice in a lot of ways. Cause now
That's
being
amazing.
someone that people could see on the internet, oh, I could go up to her. And now she's like, I have someone to talk to while I smoke. I never had
Yeah.
someone to talk to before. So it kind of
Yeah.
weirdly gave her this voice. Cause especially going back to your question of like, did she enjoy being filmed? At first, no. But then at a certain point, she was like, I have control of this and I
Yeah.
can say what I want to say. And so I would film her and like be like, I want to do like a like a cooking thing or like a grandma video. And she'd be like, no, 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 no. I'm gonna talk about marriage and what my thoughts
Mhm.
are about weddings today. Like she would come in with like ideas of like, this is what I'm pissed off about this today, and this is what I'm gonna talk about. And I liked that. It was fun to see that.
That's fantastic. We'll get into this a little bit
Hmm.
later. I understand so much of what you're saying because I've seen it first person. I've seen it
Hmm.
and experienced it. And yeah, we'll get into that later on. But I wanted to ask you because, and please correct me if I'm wrong. You wanted to do a cookbook with her before she
Yeah.
passed away, correct?
Yeah, we
Was that
did.
already in the works?
Yeah, kind of, not really, because she still was watching the grandkids, and the grandkids were, like,
Hmm.
6 and 4 when she passed, and so it was a matter of, like, as soon as they're out of the house and they're in kindergarten and they can, like, be in a regular schedule and I don't have to be watching them all the time, she was like, "Then we'll do it." And
Okay.
then and so it was kind of, like, really holding off until then, but, like, I
Hmm.
did start doing, like, little things with her and, like, writing things down, but, life
Yeah.
happens.
Life happens. I mean,
It's
it's
that, like,
very
yeah.
it just seems very serendipitous and yeah, really one of those moments where you're just like, "Okay, pivot. We're pivoting. We're
We're
pivoting."
pivoting. I know. Yeah.
Um, that's yeah. So, let's kinda talk about, like, the process. And for me, like, I thoroughly enjoy understanding the behind the scenes, especially with food, and having gone through the cookbook process, I know how rigorous and stressful it can be, but I do not have any comprehension of adding on top of grief and the process of adjusting in this big pivotal point in your life. What was it like cooking your mom's recipes during this process of writing the book? Like, what surprised you the most emotionally and practically from this process?
Ooh, okay. I mean,
I know we're
there's
getting into our feelings.
so much I can say right now about this. There's, like, so many little things that come to mind because I work with my aunt a lot on this, like, her
Mhm.
sister, and, like, so her sister helped me a lot, so I was on the phone with her a lot throughout the process of the
'Cause she
recipes and,
lives
like,
in Canada, correct?
she lives in Montreal, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So we were on the phone and we were FaceTiming, and it was so funny because while we were FaceTiming, she would just show me like, she would pull things out of her cabinets and fridge. She would be like, "Okay, how much meat do you need?" And I'd be like, she'd just pull out lamb from her refrigerator and be like, this is how much you need. And I would try to read the label to be like, is that 2 kilograms? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then she would just be like, this much rice. And so it was funny. And then her husband would come in and scream at her because he would be like, no, you're missing this. And she would be like, no, I'm not. That's the Cypriot way of doing it. And he'd be like, I don't care. That's the way he should be doing it. And then just like back and forth and back and forth. So there was that element. There was an element of like with certain things that I was like, oh, what surprised me is how well I actually understood the process of this without ever having really done it myself. Like the first
Mhm.
time I made the curabiedes, like the Christmas cookies, when I was doing the dough, it just reached a moment where I was like, oh wait, yeah, this is the right texture. I know this. I remember this.
Yeah.
There was a muscle memory to it. I really liked cooking and then leaving my apartment to go smoke a joint and then coming back and then just having the smell of, like, my mom's house in my apartment
Mhm.
was very nice. That was kind of the
Yeah.
best part of it, is just coming back into, like, what smells like it used to. That's kind of a rare thing because I go to my parents' house now, and it's so different. My dad
Mhm.
has decorated that house like a 19-year-old college student. There's nothing but, like there's, like, beer and string cheese in the
Oh
refrigerator,
my god.
and he has, like, a flask collection, my dad, and he has put his flask collection on display on the dining room table like a teenager, and,
Yeah.
like, it's just it's a different vibe now, so it's just nice to be able to, like, smell my house every once in a while, if that
Yeah.
makes sense,
No,
but
$100%.
the process of it really it was interesting because it really did help me grieve every day writing the book. Because it was like, I started just doing the stories first and then slowly doing the recipes. So it was all stories, and then I switched to recipes, and then I redid all the stories, and then I redid all the recipes. So that was kind of the process of it. The and it was all in, like, one tiny corner of my bed on a computer, which I think is so funny when you realize, like, I just created a whole book. But I will
Yeah.
kind of use this as an example, right? So on the cover, there's these cookies right here, which are just like, they're
Mhm.
not Greek cookies, they're just like marmalade cookies. They're really easy. But I had found this recipe for these cookies in her like little recipe book, and it was such a basic recipe. No flour was included. It was so stressful. I could not figure it out. I got a food tester to like test it professionally, and she was like, yeah, this works great. This is fine. And I was like, I don't know how, but I can't figure out this motherfucking cookie. And it should be so easy. Like I've made lamb, I've made curabiedes, I've made cakes, I have made everything else, and I can't figure out the simplest fucking little cookie. And I had to make them for the photo shoot. And so
Mhm.
I was literally panicking because I was like, it first of all, it was that one day in the summer where it was like 102 degrees out.
Oh, yeah.
And I had one day to go back to upstate New York to go get these cookies to these people. There was no AC in my apartment. It was not working well. The butter, obviously, when it's that hot, is gonna not work. So I had
Right.
to make like 3 batches of these cookies to get them into a place. And I was literally like running out of time because I was like, I have to go to upstate New York to the photo shoot. This is it. Like I have to bring these
Yeah.
cookies. And I didn't know they were going to be on the cover because we were shooting the cover with like other things originally. So
Yeah.
I panicked. I cried. I threw things out. I made 3 batches of cookies, and finally I made it upstate. And then they were in the cover. And that is just such a metaphor for like how this whole process was. You're just looking at this thing that's incomplete,
Mhm.
and that's a metaphor for how I felt with my mom a lot of the times. Like the connection that we had, a lot of the things that we had going on are incomplete. We're never going to be able to finish certain things. The book, um, I can go on and on and on, but
Yeah.
but I panicked, shit my pants, had an anxiety attack, went out and smoked a cigarette and a joint, got back in the room and made it fucking work. And then after all of that, it ended up on the cover of the book in this beautiful thing. And if that's not just like what grief is like, then I don't know what is, because that is truly what the experience is.
I love this so much, like, I love this. But here's the thing, and this is how I always advocate for home cooks and bakers and, like, recipe development, everything. Like, show the truth. Show how chaotic it is, how you're not anticipating 102 degrees where your butter is gonna all melt, and, like, they're
And I have to freeze
all
them in the refrigerator for an hour
yeah,
just to get them. And then, like, literally, I was making them, and as I was doing it, they were melting, so I would put the dough back in the refrigerator and, like,
yeah.
only make, like, 10 cookies at a time because they were just melting. It was anyway, sorry.
But no, I mean, this is the whole point, like, the uncontrollable variables, the chaos, like, physical environment, mental and emotional state of mind of where you are at that moment, like, they all play a factor into cooking and the success of food, but also it can create new things, new experiences. So, what I'm very appreciative of this book is there is no illusion of things are perfect. It is like this took a toll on me. This was a process.
Yeah.
This has been an experience. And if I can make all of these things with everything that was being thrown at me, you can do this too. Like you really do come alongside the readers because you're also introducing them to recipes and cuisine that they're probably not cooking or consuming on a regular basis. They should be because it's delicious, but they're not.
It's
So,
so funny
like, you
you say
really
that, but
yeah, go ahead.
the Americans feel that way, but the Greeks, it's the opposite with the Greeks. The Greeks are, like, gonna be like, "You missed this and you missed that." They're gonna be so
Yeah.
overly and my
Well, yeah,
my family does it this way, and you're like, "Girl, like, it's fucking regional. Leave me
yeah.
alone." Like,
And
leave me alone.
you say that too, and I really
Yeah.
appreciated that when you said it in the book, you're like, "You're gonna notice there's not a lot of seafood or fish here," and
Yeah.
that's because your parents, where
They're
they grew up,
mainlanders.
was very mainlanders, and I was like, "Thank you for someone talking about this," because I think everyone just subconsciously assumes like, "Ooh, Greek Mediterranean food, it's all gonna be coastal influence," and it's not.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you address it, whether or not, the Greek readers want to admit it or not, like, you address it,
It's
you call it out,
so
so good
true.
for you.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's no, it's because, well, I think it's because I really wanna make it clear throughout the book that I'm like, I'm not a chef. This is for people that aren't chefs. Like, I'm not a chef. No one's a chef here. We're just having fun, and we're making some really
Yeah.
good food. And, like, that's what makes it, I think, so accessible for people. But yes.
I'm glad you brought that up because I also appreciate that too. You say that off the bat. You're like, I am not a chef. I am not providing authority. But what you do is you are saying, this is my experience. This is how I approach it. This is my story. Versus sometimes they're like, if you're not doing it this way, you're doing it wrong, which I do not like authoritative
Yeah.
voices with food. Like let the food form and change for the person. So thank you for doing that. Like, good
Yeah,
for
I
you.
appreciate that. Thank you.
I kind of want to talk a little bit about the voice, like the narrative of the book. I think a lot of people can assume, like, oh, this is a cookbook written by a comedian. There's going to be humor, which there 100% is humor to it, but you don't separate humor and grief. Like you really let the two work together and it flows really, really well. How long did it take you to get that like that tone? Did you know going in how you were going to do it or did you like workshop
Ooh.
it a lot?
I don't know, there was a lot of there was a few of them where I was like, because I have 75, right? And so
Mhm.
it's quite long. Like, there was definitely, like, 10 in the beginning where I was like, "Okay, these are meaty stories." And, I think it all really transformed. It transformed from, like, okay, I know I have certain bits that I do in my stand-up. So I basically took all my stand-up and I rewrote it,
Mhm.
so it's all in this book because it's all those jokes
Okay.
that I have of her, I want them to live on in some way, and I was like, "Oh, this is a
Yeah.
perfect way to do that." And so that was one thing. So I was like, I know I have those are fun and those are funny. And then I was like, I have these like really sad stories about how I feel and what this experience
Mhm.
was. And then as it went on, it was like, oh wait, now I have this new feeling. Like there's a story in it about me coming back from Portugal where I finally feel like where I talk about how grief, especially in that first year, is like you just keep feeling like you wake up and every day is the day after your mom died. Like, every
Mhm.
day just feels like yesterday, and you're like, "Wow, okay, that sucks." And then one day you wake up and you're like, "Oh, wait, it's a different day. It's a new day." I feel like there's time and distance away from it, but it takes a long time to get there. And that I was like, "There's no way I could have written that story before I felt that." And so there's a lot of things, and I as I go into it now, I'm like, "Oh,
Mhm.
shit, is there gonna be more stories where I'm like, oh, I wish I had that in the book. I wish I had that in the book." And that's
Yeah.
why I really say it is like truly like an immediate 2-year response to grief because that's really what it is. The show that I'm doing to promote the book on the book tour
Mhm.
adds another element to it, which is music.
Cool.
Because that I think is what really helped me like deal with this in a lot of ways. Like
Mhm.
the music that I listen to and the music that like has like that my mom loved and like the music that I love and dance music in general like really helped me through this process
Yeah.
and house obviously because like a lot of house music when you there's a lot of like studies about like how BPM affects mood and
Mhm.
things like that and so house is really good for people with like post traumatic stress apparently but music really helped. So in the stage show of this, I am going to be doing readings from the book where I kind of combine music, grief, and comedy together to tell the story because that is what the experience was. Like I healed through dance and I healed through
Yeah.
music, but also through this like creative outlet of cooking and writing about grief. So it's kind of all those things together that like help me like just sit down every day and just type away. And then really what happened was I would reach a point where I would be like, and now I'm too fucking sad. And I'm
Yeah.
going to put the laptop away, go for a walk, and maybe like go do something fun. And so after that first draft, I was like, this is depressing as shit. This is so depressing. And it was a lot of like really depressing shit about like the way it all really went down. And then after
Mhm.
the second pass, I was like, okay, wait, no, no, no. I know how to focus this a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then after the third pass, I was really able to focus it up a little bit more. But the last pass I had in the book was speaking of going back to the cookies and the butter melting, the butter
This
started
thing haunts
melting
you. Those cookies haunt you. They're
the
haunting you
butter let me
forever.
I'll so no because this is again a metaphor it's another metaphor the butter started melting again Justin because the week that I had to finish all of the stories in the book like
Mhm.
final proofread and everything was the week that my dad in October had his fourth heart attack and almost died
Jeez.
so I literally
Oh,
am in the hospital with him, just like revising these stories about my mom dying as he's about to die. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me right now? And literally, I just sent the last draft of the whole book to my editor, just like, hey, this was the situation. Can you just really take a look at this in case there's anything in here that might be crazy?
yeah.
And she was like, absolutely, you got it. But that was the experience. That's the real behind the scenes experience of like chaos, butter melting, and then more butter melting. But through a lot of the cooking in the last 2 years, like, just the first Christmas after she died was like 3 months after she died, and I tried to make her Christmas cookies and absolute disaster, inedible. There was butter everywhere. There was powdered sugar. I live in a studio. There was powdered sugar on my bed for weeks, like literally weeks, because it's so close to my kitchen. So
Yeah.
there's just like shit everywhere. And
And
then the
powdered
second
sugar travels.
it is and butter everywhere. I was like a slip and slide in here for weeks. But then the second year I did it and it was much better. And
Yeah.
then last December, I just did them and it was the easiest it's ever been. It was truly like, wait, I put on the Taylor Swift Eras tour and I just made some
Yeah.
cookies and it was so, not even thinking about it. And so that is kind of also the real behind the scenes of it all. Of is still found a way to gain more confidence and to
Mhm.
find like to really grow and to find joy in my life again, even
Yeah.
with all the butter melting. But
Yeah.
it's still
That's
turned out great, so I'm
that's a
happy with
lot.
it.
That's a lot. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Just a like a quick note on the book tour. I absolutely love how you are essentially like curating this like full package experience of like food, narrative, music. Like it's almost like you're taking a restaurant on the road. Like you really are creating this
Oh,
full like yeah, you can use it. I give you permission to say
yeah, I like
that.
that. Hold on, wait.
No, but it's like that I mean, if you go to a restaurant, you think about it, like, there's music, there's narrative, there's obviously food, there's beverage, and
Yeah.
it sounds like you're doing that, and I think that's so cool, like,
Yeah, it's fun, like, the show, I'm not on stage, like, the whole time, like, I go in the crowd, like,
that's awesome.
it's a wacky show, but I'm excited for it, yeah.
That's great. I kinda wanna pivot and focus on one passage, like, one essay that you wrote, that just, like, really, like, gut punch in the best way, and that was the essay and I can't remember the recipe, I'm so sorry that it goes to, but it's the essay about you realizing how fierce of an ally your mom was, and it was, like, the very
Oh,
end. Ugh,
yeah.
my like,
I had to cut
I think
so much out of
ugh,
that one, which I'm
can
so
I just
sad
say
about.
can I just
Yeah,
say,
it was a
like,
long story, and they asked me to cut, like, so
I
much, and I was so mad, but yeah.
I think every queer person if there's one takeaway that's like that one essay like hits, it just hits. It's like such a gut punch, but also like I said, it was a beautiful gut punch in a way. Like, what was that like? What was that experience for you when because you talk about the relationship with your mother and you talk about the barriers of acceptance and understanding. Like, what was that like to find that out afterwards, you know?
Okay, so the thing about my mom is she really did grow up in, like, a tiny village in the middle of nowhere. Like, if you were in her
Mhm.
village, you would be like, "Oh." Like, I'm in the middle of nowhere. There's one restaurant, like, it's there's nothing to do, and she didn't speak English,
Mhm.
is an immigrant. And so I think even as a kid, I was really able to be like, hold up. This woman is clearly, this is a real left field thing for her. Like this woman did
Mhm.
not grow up with this. Like this isn't complete left field moment for her. Like she's not my friend's mom. She's not an American mom.
Right.
So I kind of have to let that go. And even as a kid, I was really able to be like, no, 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 no. I think you're gonna have to struggle with this. But also I had a lot of empathy for her because I knew what I was in for, but I also knew what
Mhm.
she was in for in a lot of ways. Like what her
Yeah.
emotions were going to be around it because I really understood where she grew up in a lot of ways because we went there as kids all the time. So there is a thing in that story where like I was booked to do this Greek church and then
Mhm.
like 2 days before they were like or a week before I was supposed to show up and do the show, they asked me not to speak about being gay at all. They were like, "You
Right.
can't talk about any homosexuality." And at that point, the show, there wasn't a lot. There was like maybe 2, 3 minutes of me like talking about coming out to my parents and like cute little
Mhm.
funny stories. So I was like, absolutely the fuck not. I sent them such a nasty
Yeah.
email. I literally was like, I
Good
said,
for
I have
you.
to, so we had to cut it from the book. And but originally I had the screenshot of the email in there. And I think I have it somewhere on my desktop because sometimes
Fucking savage.
when I'm really feeling shitty, yeah, I have it when I'm really shitty. I'm like, no, wait, remember you're a badass. I went completely off. I said, if my mother, who grew up dirt poor in a tiny village in Greece, who never received an education, who had to work in a clothing factory in Athens when she was 12, who had to come to this country and struggle to survive to make a living for her family, who doesn't even speak the English language, if my mother could accept me for being gay, so can people from Long Island. I went off said if
Yes.
your parents or your parents don't want to teach their kids about the LGBTQ community, then they probably shouldn't be parents to begin with. Please let me know where I can send your $500 deposit. I don't need the money.
That
I went off. I went off.
savage. I love it.
Yeah,
That
I went off.
is
I was like, "Fuck these
good.
people.
Like,
Absolutely
good.
not."
Like, absolutely. Fuck them.
Yeah, and then
Like,
the priest called me within minutes and was like, "Listen, we're gonna let you do whatever you want. We don't want any problems." And I said, "Good, thank you." That response and the way that I handled that, I learned from my mother because that's how she would deal with things. She
mhm.
did not fuck around. She was going to tell you exactly how she felt. So I think in the past, I would have let that happen to me and I would have been like, no, that's okay. I won't talk about being gay. And I don't know. I
Yeah.
was just like, fuck this. I'm not dealing with this shit anymore. Ultimately, yeah, finding out that she like bitched out my cousin or just was so lovely. Like she literally just told her like go fuck yourself. Like and she
Yeah.
basically brought up her sham of a marriage. And she went off at her.
Yeah.
And I really respected that. And that's really a very Greek mom thing to do, which is
Mhm.
shit talk and berate your child in front of your child, but then
Mhm.
behind your child's back, praise them like they're Albert Einstein. Like
Yeah.
literally like
Yeah.
that is such a Greek mom thing to do. And so I appreciated that like her version of bragging about me was to be like, my fucking kid is fine. He's gay,
Yeah.
big fucking deal. And I don't know. There was nice. That was nice. That was a long
I
answer,
think
but yeah.
no, I loved it. I I
There's a
loved
lot
it
of
so much.
context there because there's so much like I think there's so much nuance in terms of like immigrant parents and
Mhm.
queerness and coming out and because my dad was so cool about it. And so it's like, well, what makes some immigrants so cool about it and some immigrants not? And I don't
Yeah.
know. I have a lot
It's
of like
very
empathy and respect for her in a lot of ways.
it's layered. There's a lot of
Yeah.
layers to it. And I mean, that's one of my goals with this podcast is like talking about queerness, queer and trans community, but how it intersects with so many other races and cultures and religions and stuff that we don't really talk about. Like queerness in an immigrant family, like there's a lot more context to it. There's a lot of other things that you have to come up against and work through. And I think reading that essay, reading the whole book really, but reading that essay, I was just like, damn, like here is a prime example of what it takes and what it looks like. I love that you included that.
Yeah,
It was
thank
really,
you.
yeah, it was
It
really,
took
really beautiful.
work. It took a lot of work with my mom, but ultimately she was never ever going to be the type of parent that like abandoned me,
Hmm.
and that was good to know. And then she was never going t but yeah, there was an acknowledgement of like, oh, she grew up in this type of space, so I have to have empathy, but also I have to
Yeah.
acknowledge like, yeah, she's angry and she's this and that and she has her feelings, but she's not going
Hmm.
to like abandon and leave me. And that's really important
Yeah.
to know as a queer
It's
kid.
really, really important. Reading the book, there was a part of me that like, I really hope Gus brings up this very pop culture relevant moment of American culture in the book, and you did. And that was talking about
Oh, my big
my
fat
big
Greek
fat Greek.
wedding. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So
Well, the
I
only reason I did that was because my mom used to make a bundt cake, and so I found the bundt cake recipe, and I was like, "Oh, this is perfect. I can just talk about this movie."
yeah, I mean, easy.
Yeah,
I mean, they gave it to you, like, they're like, "Here."
right
It's
there.
easy way
Yeah.
to one of the questions I wanted to ask, it did not openly have a queer Greek character, and I wanna know for you, like, did you ever experience or see queer Greek representation growing up or traveling to Greece? Did you ever get that
Ooh.
exposure? Did you ever have something to look at and look to?
No, there's like no, because it was even worse with like Greek TV and media. They didn't have
Mhm.
anything. In fact, when they would air Xena the Warrior Princess in Greek, and I
Yeah,
love
I'm
that
glad you're
shit
bringing
because
this
it's
up. I love
she's
it.
great. But they would
Yeah.
air Xena the Warrior Princess, and I don't know if you know, but like in season 4, she goes full lesbian.
With
And in
Gabrielle, right?
Yeah, and in Greece, they stopped airing before. They don't air those episodes ever. So there was like not even that. Like I think there was Joey Fatone is supposed to be gay in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. There's like a very quick
Was he?
and yeah, there's like a very quick mention of him. Like I
Okay.
think near the end of like him maybe being gay, and then in the second one. There he is gay, and then like at the end, there's like a boyfriend or like some person he's dating, and Andrea Martin is like, "Oh, come here. I have to tell you about the mole on my back or whatever," and she's
Oh,
like
yeah.
totally fine with him. Yeah. I never saw the third one. I'll be honest. I never got
There's a
there. I
third one?
just there is a third one. I never got there.
Stop.
Um, no, it came out like a week after my mom died, and I was like, I would
Oh,
rather
yeah, no.
die than go see this
Yeah.
movie. I
No.
literally, like, I can't do it. But but so I think no, I didn't have anything. I really didn't have
Okay.
anything. That movie, I think, rings a little queer because of the way that it's
Mhm.
written. I think it's written by a woman, and so I think
Yeah.
because of that, there's always an element of like it's written as a woman who feels like she doesn't belong in her family. So I think
Mhm.
from that perspective, it's very queer.
Yeah.
Just that element of it. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really have any queer Greek representation. Like, I don't think I can even name someone now. Like, there's a couple of singers that have like since come out of the closet later in
Mhm.
life, but even them, I'm like, I don't know. I didn't have anything. So I don't know. It's really
Uh,
interesting. I know it hurts. It hurts.
it
It's
hurts.
and it's funny to think that like I when I first started doing like all the videos and stuff, like, I got a lot of messages from like queer kids and like queer young adults and everything, and it was weird because I was like, "Am I the queer Greek representation? I hate this. Not
I was just gonna
me."
ask you. I was like, "How does it feel?"
Ah! Ah!
I hate to tell you, but, like, I think you kinda are for some folks, whether you wanna believe it or
It's
not.
so funny because it's like this it's the same thing. I did a show in Canton, Ohio once, which is in the middle of nowhere, and I asked the people that were organizing it, I was like, "What is there to do in Canton, Ohio?" And they were like, You're the thing this
Yeah.
weekend." And I was like, "Oh,
It's
no.
you.
I I don't want that at all. I hate this."
Oh, too much pressure. Alright, so I have 2
Mhm.
more questions for you. There's a line in the book, and you it's not something that, like, readers will gloss over, but you say something that your mom and it's talking about your sister-in-law, you talk about how your mom always wanted a daughter, but she got me.
Oh, yeah.
So, do you know how powerful that statement is? Because not only is it a very powerful statement just in itself of being like, she got me. Like, and I'm pretty fucking great. But also, like, you wrote this cookbook carrying off of her recipes. You mentioned that you want these recipes for your own family's future generation, but just for everyone who, like, came to love her. You are with queer food, we talk a lot about we rewrite the narrative of blood family recipes. When we take ownership of it, we're rewriting it and adding our contribution to it. And for me, when I read that, I was like, "Oh, shit, like, this is beautiful." Gus is taking these traditions, these families' recipes and traditions, and adding his narrative, his perspective to the next generations. And I don't know, I just want to know, like, have you ever thought of it that way? Like that level of deepness
Ooh,
that came
no,
out
not
from this?
really. I really was just like, I'm just trying to get my mom's recipes on paper. And it is weird because so she never did have a daughter and she always did want to have a daughter. And
Mhm,
her granddaughter, Cece, was like the first girl in our family, like
mhm,
since, you know what I mean? Like, so like even because like a lot of my cousins are all male, like we don't even have a lot of female cousins. And so like I think we only have like two or three. So it's like it really is like the men are in this family, but, in terms of traditions, I will say this, especially because, like, as the holidays roll on when you're
mhm,
grieving, there is a lot of like, traditions come up and, like, the traditions that you wanna uphold and the traditions that you don't wanna uphold become very, very, um front of mind when
mhm.
a person dies, essentially. I think the relationships that you wanna have in general, like, really become front of mind in terms of, like,
Yeah,
family and things, like, I think a lot of my family members on my mom's side have, like, really since stop talking to us. And I'm like, all right, that's
okay.
fine. But like, why? You know what I mean? Like, great. That's your fucking responsibility, though. I have nothing to do with that, you know? But in terms of traditions, especially that first Christmas, the second, and now I've had three Christmases. And like, the first Christmas was really just like, oh, this sucks. The second Christmas was like, this actually sucks more because it feels a little bit more normal and we're
Mhm,
doing the same things and I hate it because then you really start questioning like what are the now that she's gone, what are the traditions I want to keep going with? Because some of them suck, just to be honest. Some of them
yeah,
are not fun, and some of them are rooted in like some of them are rooted in actual like things that I don't agree with. Some of them are rooted in sexism
mhm,
and homophobia and religion in a way that I don't really fuck with in my adult life. And then the third year, I was really able to sit and ask myself, like, what are the traditions that I want to keep for myself that I want to keep in the future, and what are the traditions that I just like don't want I can just leave behind and we don't have to do that
yeah.
shit anymore. One of them being like toxic masculinity. I think that's a
Yeah,
big one. But some of it's just as simple as like, I don't wanna make this thing. I don't like this thing. Or as simple as
mhm,
like, I don't wanna see this person. They don't bring me joy during the holidays. Like that. So I think it was just like I think it gives you the opportunity to really look at the way that you want your life and traditions to look like. And as a queer person, you really like I not to quote Rue fucking Paul, but we get to choose what family, you know what I mean? We get to choose our
yeah,
family. But as a queer person, but you also get to choose what generational trauma you take with you and which ones you don't. Because like queer
mhm,
people, especially I'm the youngest, and youngest queer people in the family are always breaking the chain of generational trauma. It's like a very common thing. And I think that like that's kind of what it is going forward. It's just like making that decision of like how I want it to look and how
mhm,
I want it to look while still honoring the things that I loved about my family and my mom. And so I think when it comes to like me taking these recipes from my mom and like as a queer person and writing them down, there is an element of like I'm passing this on in our family by with also taking out some of the fucking bullshit we don't have to move forward with.
yeah,
That's
beautiful.
the difference. There you
And
go.
I think that's so beautiful, and I love it, and yeah, yeah, I just love it so
Yeah,
much.
there you go. That's
Okay,
the answer.
but I have one last question, and it's the
Mhm.
question that every guest on That 8 gets asked. I'm a firm believer that as the queer community, we can do we can do a much better job lifting each other up, especially queer food professionals. And so I ask every guest, who are 2, maybe 3 queer food people, creators, chefs, photographers, businesses, restaurants that you want to shout out and introduce to the listeners.
Okay, so I don't want to mess up his last name. Eddie Mossy, who runs Eddie's Grocer in Brooklyn,
Ah,
is great.
Eddie, Eddie is great. Eddie
Eddie
is
is
so
great.
fantastic.
Yeah, so fun, really nice person, just does great stuff. And if you like the Greek food, you're obviously gonna find because he's Lebanese, right?
Yeah, Lebanese. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like it's the same shit. So just go check him out because you'll love it. You'll love it. And yeah, and so Eddie's great. And then I'm trying to think of someone else. I'm like, I know you want chefs, but I kind of because I'm a comic want to
No,
shout out
creators.
comedians.
No,
No, I
do
want yeah,
comedians then.
I
Sure.
want to
I
shout
mean,
out
it's part of, yeah, comedians are
because
part of
Eddie's
food
great, and
culture.
I also love a lot of like, could shout out Mateo Lane as another comic who's done, Cookbook, but
Oh, yeah.
I think I'll shout out my friend Kate Sisk, who I think is a really funny comic and just like very funny, and check out their stuff because they're just great. So that's the two people I'd like to shout out. Yeah,
Awesome. No, I love it. I know. It's like
yeah,
sometimes people are like, "That's a lot of pressure," and I'm like, "Well, welcome to my
yeah,
world. I'm in
yeah,
constant
exactly.
pressure."
Yeah.
Um, awesome. Gus, this was fantastic. Thank you so much for stopping by. I love the book, and I hope everyone listening gets to know you a little bit better, understand why this book is so important to you, but why it should be important to them too, because they are going to learn valuable lessons in life, I think, and they're also going to get access to some incredible recipes, and the food is fucking delicious. So get the book.
There you go. Thank you so much
Awesome.
for having me.
That's episode 7 with Gus Constantellis. I hope it reminds you how powerful food can be as a memory, as a connection, and as a way to hold on to the people we love. Now, go grab My Greek Mom's recipes, catch Gus on tour, cook something meaningful. Take care.